If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is Speedball Mike Bailey. You're listening to Keepin It Strong Style. Yosh.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll review New Japan Road and Anjo and cover all its news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice, and leave a rating and review. You can also get all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP subscribers. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Young boy, how you doing, man?
If I can unmute myself. What do you want to talk about?
I'm ready to dive into this never six-man title match we had this weekend.
Anything happened this week that was major? Any news?
Yeah, we had a never six-man title match. That was the hot thing everybody was talking about, right?
No, the hot thing coming out of that match everyone was talking about was Air Wolf.
There's a World Tag League announcements. We can I know that's hot news.
Don't try to bury the lead of World Tag League. The World Tag League is the hottest it's been since like 2017, my man. Not since the days of Killer Elite Squad and
War Machine.
War Machine. I mean, we got Monster Sauce, dog. Like, come on.
Let's go.
Actually, I fucking love Monster.
So do I.
Like, I use them as like the facetious, like, oh, Monster Sauce. But like, actually, Monster Sauce is probably gonna be like one of the top 3 rawest tag teams in the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can jump into it, man. And I was figuring, since the biggest news comes from the main event, I figure normally we start from the opener to the main event, but I think we should start with the main event here, cover all the news surrounding that, and then we can kind of go back into.
You can do a rundown of the show. There was very little here that warrants an in-depth discussion, unfortunately.
All right, let's run through the real quick till we get to the big stuff. So, yeah, this was New Japan Road in Anjo. This was Saturday, November 8th. Had a reported attendance of 1,483. So we had Katsuya Murashima defeating Tetsuya Matsumoto. So Young Lions continuing their stuff there. Yasuda and Taichi defeating Shomakato and Zane J.
You like that? You like that Taichi heat on Zane J there, kicking his head and shit?
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, big win for Taichi there. United Empire, Callum Newman, Great Khan, Jacob Austin Young defeating Bolton Ole, Tiger Mask, and Hanma. Callum Newman continuing to be more heelish, more of a dickhead, attacking.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction for sure. Then we had Bullet Club War Dogs, Gato and Taiji Ishimori teaming up with Shingo Takagi, and they defeated Doki, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. We had some post-match stuff that led to the junior match announcement, which we'll get into. Then there was Taguchi, Shoto Umino, and Yuya Uemura defeating Daiki Nagai, Oscar, and Yota Tsuji. So a little bit of a preview of World Tag League with Umino and Uemura teaming up, and obviously Oscar on the other side there.
Yo, let me ask you this. At the end of the year, when we do year-end awards, we're doing Faction of the Year. Are we doing unaffiliated Bullet Club?
I don't know. So actually, I pulled up the awards doc last night, and I started trying to throw some stuff in there because this show was the last show of our grading period.
Well, we technically started with World Tag League as the actual cutoff. I kind of forgot we didn't institute that a few years ago. So if there's anything between now and then, like a strong event, Tamashi, LA Dojo
Showcase.
LA Academy Showcase on YouTube, anything like that. It's fair game. You never know.
Yeah.
Dynamite. Dynamite might as well be part of this shit at this point. Tony Khan's booking New Japan. You might as well just count his ROH.
Oh man. So yeah, I put down. I have them separate. I put down War Dogs and Unaffiliated on 2 line items.
What about LIJ? Are we going to count LIJ for this grading period?
Nah, they had 3 months of activity.
We're going to go LIJ / unaffiliated.
They watch them win. Heck, they still might win.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, what's even more crazy is tag team of the year. I'm there's 4 teams to put. I put the Knockout Brothers down. I know they came in September or August, but
we're putting Knockout Brothers down. Brother, I think they're gonna run away with the award this year.
Yeah, that's. It's Ichiban Sweet Boys, Knockout Brothers, Ravi X Ishimori.
Sorry, Robbie, you're gonna have to see Oscar about that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh man. So after that, we had Bishamon and Desperado defeating the TMDK team, Hartley Jackson, Roy Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. So more World Tag League preview. Oiwa and Sabre and Bishamon, both in the league. Despy also in the league as well. Then semi-main event, never openweight 6-man tag team title match. Wato, Yano, and Yo defeating the House of Torture team, Dick Togo, Evil, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. We had some Aaron Wolf involvement. He came down as a second for the champions, and towards the end, there's a spot where Evil was going to use a chair. Wolf throws his body. I believe it might have been, I think it was Yo or Wato. But Wolf throws his body over them. Evil hits him with the chair. He rolls out. But that was enough of a kind of a distraction to allow the Babyfaces to regain control and get the win here over Dick Togo.
I heard Uncle Dave buried the shit out of. I heard he has been consistently burying Aaron Wolf, which is, I don't know. It's I love Dave. But it is funny to hear his takes on New Japan when he watches it so fucking rarely these days. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I heard he's had some untoward words for one Aaron Wolf lately.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what he's saying in the sense of they're putting him on a huge platform. He's having this big debut match, and we're not really seeing much. And it goes back to what you were saying last week. Like, he's a green boy. Like, a lot of the stuff he's doing is like, yeah, this is what somebody at this point of wrestling probably would do. It's like, you go to any local wrestling school, like a guy with this amount of experience is probably going to be doing what he's doing. However,
but what's Dave saying about it?
I mean, Dave's just talking about how bad the angles are, bearing his facial expressions, the charisma.
He's calling him a charisma black hole.
Pretty much, yeah. And
who did he do that about? Was it Okan?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
oh, well.
I think, like, obviously the mechanics, I can be a little bit more lenient on that, but I do feel like there is still this lack of, I don't know, like fire, facial reactions. And again, I know that he's still new to this and maybe he's being told a certain way, and then Tokyo Dome he's gonna go wild. But I think there are things, even as like a pro wrestling fan, like if you're a fan of the business and maybe you're not fully trained, you don't know all the moves, there's certain taunts or fires, or like you kind of have like some body motion to kind of show like, all right, yeah, this dude is legit. He has some energy, he has some charisma, and right now he's not showing that.
I mean, we've heard that he's a fan. I don't know to what extent he actually is. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
A lot of guys do get in the business and they're not the biggest fans or someone that watched it before entering into it. Yota Tsuji is one of those guys. Toriano is another famous example. And it's not always necessarily where I think the guys that were big fans that get it can translate that probably easier and better, but it's not a quick and easy thing for everybody,
Yeah. Then main event, we had Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Yuto-Ice, 16 minutes and 32 seconds. A great build for this match. We've talked about it on the show how, Yuto-Ice went to the same junior high school as Tanahashi. They did a great VTR on that, and once he found out, he wasn't the toughest guy to come from his high school, it was some pro wrestler. It was from then he wanted to train to be a wrestler and beat Tanahashi. And we've talked about the super long road and failing to get in a dojo multiple times, having to go to the Fale dojo, and all his whole journey, excursion, coming back to finally get this match. It was very well built, a lot of emotion on it for just a short, build, a quick announcement of the match. But also, if you follow the story, it's been built for a while, and they even showed like young lion matches with Yuto getting up in Tanahashi's face, which back then we didn't really fully know the story, and so to kind of have that young lion footage play into this whole story was great as well. I thought it was a really fun, hard hitting matchup. Yuto-Ice, tons of charisma there, looking good. And I thought he held his own there with Tanahashi.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything too negative to say about the match. It wasn't blow away, but it was very good. I liked the fact that they treated it like a fight, because that sort of plays into the strengths of what Yuto-Ice is and what his character, how he's portraying himself. So, we didn't have to see them, do scientific style catch wrestling on the mat, try to catch a hold and, roll one another up. It wasn't like that. But it was also, Tanahashi's playing it a little bit safe. We're getting down to the tail stretch here. And, I would go like 3.5. I thought it was good. And, but I felt like the build was better than the match itself. And, Tanahashi beats him clean, as he should. So, good learning experience, and check one off of the bucket list for Yuto-Ice, getting to kind of face his, hometown hero and legend, and someone that he was an attendant for, years ago, that people kind of forget about that as well. So
yeah,
sort of like Tanahashi's been going through all of his attendants that are still with the company through this tour, and beating them all.
Yeah. Unfortunately it would have been great for Yuto to get like a Tanahashi that can go, but still it was a very good match. And I thought Tanahashi did a great job selling Yuto's strikes. Like, he would do those big swinging punches, and Tanahashi would just crumble. Yeah.
I think it works both ways. Honestly, I feel like it would have been better for Yuto-Ice to have a Tanahashi that could still go, but also it would have been good for Tanahashi to have a guy that isn't quite still developing. You know what I mean? Like it works both ways, but I think that they had the match that they can have, and it was good. The promotional material that they put out on like YouTube and stuff was really, I mean, I don't know how many people saw that, but that stuff was like an extension of the VTR stuff. And it was, I mean, I think they've got money with Yuto-Ice, like real.
Yeah. And then post-match comments, he's being hard on himself, but he's like, I'm going to take this. It's it could be my ambition. It's going to be my fire. Going to get stronger. And yeah, just everything about this match I thought did wonders. Continue to elevate the stock of Yuto-Ice. And yeah, I think he is a breakout star in the making. So then the big news after the match, Tanahashi is doing his post-match. He's strumming air guitars, breaking air guitars, having a jolly good old time. And then
this was going on and on and on. And I was like, they're gonna announce the person because this is taking way too long.
Yeah, it was on some Mystico. Like he's just out there. And then the fans are chanting encore and stuff like that. And then he's up on top rope and he's doing his pose and he does his, the I shamas. And then
you know what's funny about all that too is like, for as much as being the guy that plays the air guitar is Tanahashi's thing, is there anyone who is as bad as him at doing air guitar? Like he doesn't do, he just goes and that's it. Like,
and then he stops midway and claps.
He doesn't strum with the song. He doesn't add like any of the shoulder shit, the facials that you would want. Right. He doesn't do any of with the left hand, like playing up and down the fret. Yeah. This man does it the laziest, like ring. And then he starts clapping. Like, it's the worst air guitar player there ever has been. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So he's doing all that, and then the coin drops. We got the New Japan Okada music. The crowd absolutely loses their mind. They all jump up there, run towards the entranceway, and out comes Kazuchika Okada, along with Gato, with bandana over the eyes and all.
Love Gato.
So they stroll down to the ring face to face, and Okada pretty much says, I want to face you at Wrestle Kingdom. I want to be your retirement match. And so Tanahashi accepts, and we got the old school Okada throwing it to Gato, and Gato doing the whole Rainmaker. We got that whole, it's like it was, back in the day, 2013, 14 all over again. And the match was official. Then the following day, they had a press conference in Tokyo officially announcing the match for Wrestle Kingdom 20. Tanahashi reminded Okada that he still has a 2-1 record against him in the Tokyo Dome. And he also noted that Okada has won their last 4 singles matches. Tanahashi said, in the last 2 years, I've lost a lot to Okada. I've lost our last 4 or 5. There aren't many who retire with a win, but that with an opponent like Okada, I'll give my absolute best. I am planning on having people saying I can still go, not that I am broken down. When Okada was asked about being his final opponent, Tanahashi continued, in the end, I wanted someone I had a deep connection to. While neither would give away much regarding how much the match came together, Okada says that he knew he had to be Tanahashi's final opponent as soon as he heard his lifelong rival was retiring. He says, I knew it had to be me. There are a lot of people in NJPW and other companies that want to wrestle Tanahashi and won't get the chance, so I'll carry those hopes with me. Okada say that he won't be back to his NJPW Rainmaker character for the match, but rather he will be the new AEW version. He says, I won't be the old Rainmaker. I'll be the AEW Rainmaker. In AEW, I'm really doing whatever I want, so I might just hit Tanahashi low, roll him up, and send everyone home crying at the Tokyo Dome. I want there to be a lot of tears and a lot of levels. So we've been speculating for a while now. We got it locked in. We're pretty much
more than a year, bro.
Yeah.
More than a year since he first announced the retirement, which was what, last King of Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No, not last King of Pro Wrestling. The Kingdom of pro wrestling before last, because the last one took place a couple of months
Right.
ago.
Yeah. Last year's KLPW. So yeah, and we kind of in the last couple of weeks been seeing that Okada could potentially be one of the guys that got heated up last week with the whole Gato, I can call somebody. And so here we go. Okada is the opponent. Josh, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking on all this?
Well, as far as the angle goes, there was some really cool callbacks and things like that. Like Okada comes out, obviously it's the Rainmaker coin drop, one of the most prolific and popular theme songs that has ever existed, especially in Japan. So the reaction from the crowd was very Western, like very enthusiastic. They were losing their minds. And then when he comes out in the same fit that he wore at Wrestle Kingdom 6. No, sorry. Yes, 6. When he came out at the end of the Tokyo Dome, when Tanahashi had successfully defended the title for the 11th time against Minoru Suzuki. Same outfit. The difference here being is that this is Kazuchika Okada, the legend. And at that time, that was a returning from excursion Kazuchika Okada, who, even though he wore the same clothes, they were ill-fitting. He looked like a geek. And then that standoff is very famous because Okada, not only, that led to the Rainmaker shock, but Okada had said something to the extent of to Tanahashi that, you must be very tired after a match like that. Mm. And this was the first time Tanahashi ever publicly uttered the words, "I've never been tired a day in my life," which became like one of his most famous catchphrases and is probably like one of the best retorts he ever had in his career. And so during this challenge, if you watched the English translations, like Okada kept mentioning how tired you must be. You must be so tired, and like really rubbing in the idea that he's tired,
Yeah,
and it's
cooked.
it's on like several levels that he's saying this. It was funny too. I was watching this with my wife, and she's kind of like half paying attention, and then Okada does the Rainmaker pose, and then Tanahashi does the famous, hands up in the air, and she's like, Japanese people are so fucking weird. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, because she watches wrestling. I'm like, how is this any different from Western wrestling? She's like, it's so anime. She's like, this face off and these poses, this is so anime. She's like, yeah, Western wrestling and stuff like this, but this is so like unique to what they do. And I'm like, whatever, it's fucking awesome. And then I will say this, though. It was received super well. The excitement in the building off the charts. Even though this isn't my pick of opponent, I thought that this angle was done really, really well. I think it is somewhat a nice touch to have Gato come back with him, but I also still stand by what I said last week, where the kayfabe just makes no fucking sense at all.
I'm like, okay, so is Okada a war dog? Is Gato in the Don Callis family? Like, how they link back up? Like, what's going on here?
I'll be honest with you, Jeremy. I think that this is a very quick fix. They just need to do a blurb and explain at what point in time they reconnected, because it's been a long time since Gato turned on. Gato never really did turn. Did Gato actually turn on Jay White or no?
No, it was just that Finley
beat him out.
Well, who beat him first? Was Hikuleo beat him first, right? And then he lost to Eddie Kingston, and then Finley jumped him after he lost to Eddie Kingston.
Right, and then obviously Gato linked up with David Finley, and I guess where I'm not remembering is if it was the portrayal of the story that Gato had orchestrated these things secretly behind, it was pulling the strings backstage and really orchestrated all this? Or was it more, an opportunity where Jay White is gone and now I'm going to cling to this guy that kind of ousted him? I can't recall.
I don't remember them leaning towards Gato being the mastermind. I think it was because the Hikuleo match was like loser leaves Japan, so he wasn't allowed back in Japan. And I think the Eddie Kingston match was like loser can't be in New Japan. So
maybe someone in the comments or one of the listeners can reach out to us, but I feel like it was somewhat like implied later on. or people were at least wondering that, even on commentary. I feel like they were saying like, what was Gato in on this? What, when did all that blah, blah, blah.
I think they speculated, but it was never like came out like, all right, for sure. This was,
it's like the Mole and Chaos.
Oh boy.
But, with that being said, all right, it's been a long time since him and Jay White have been partnered at this point. When did him and Okada make good? All they got to do, they don't got to do much. Just do one interview, article, anything to just say like, here's when it happened. Y'all didn't know. And that will make it straight. Just be like, because if they never explain it, then it's just going to be this thing hanging out there. Maybe not for everybody. Like, I'm sure a lot of people just don't care about this shit like we do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is a company that has always been so smart about their booking, and Gato himself is the fucking booker. If you would think if anybody cared about the kayfabe of it all, it would be him to at least like cover his tracks and just do one interview. It doesn't even have to be with New Japan. You could do a fucking Sports Illustrated interview and be like, yeah, this is what it was when we came together, blah, blah. We've been good for a year and a half. Yeah. Just looking for the opportunity to work back to, it's kind of like when Don Callis and like Kenny Omega have like talked in the past about like, y'all didn't know, but secretly, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I can buy into it because it was always, we didn't know, but it makes sense. You start putting pieces together. Anyways, putting that aside, I don't know that I love the press conference comments from Okada because and it's a double-edged sword because I do get it from a certain extent. It is like he is Okada from AEW. You still do have to acknowledge that he's not this guy returning to his former glory and stepping back into the Rainmaker of old role just to kind of cosplay, for a moment. That's not what it is. But and at the same time, you want to babyface Tanahashi, right? Yeah. So you need a good heel. You want to build some heat. But some of the comments left me feeling like it's dangerous territory because he's gonna win, right? There's no getting around it. Like, I'd be so shocked if Tanahashi,
ain't no way.
Well, there is the chance. You just never know. Like, he could fucking not schoolboy, but
inside cradle.
He could inside cradle Okada off of a Rainmaker and get that unexpected 1, 2, 3, and you're just like, holy shit, But with that being said, it's probably not going to happen. So he's talking about like sending this legend away forever. He's talking about ending, like he during the press conference, he made comments about how he sent Tenryu into his retirement.
Yeah.
And he ended the Showa era. And now he wants to end the Heisei era and put a stamp on both of those eras as being the guy who fucking finished them and all that. And also the fact that like he is he's an AEW outsider representing AEW. And like, that's part of the presentation of what he's saying here. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like, but he's gonna fucking win. Like, these are the kind of comments that a guy who should probably lose would be. The way he's positioning himself isn't a way where he should lose, unless it was a situation where he's gonna, now if he's like gonna heal it up, put Tanahashi away and come back for other dates. I'm not even saying all the time, but I'm saying for like 1 or 2 big events and put somebody over, that shit's not gonna happen. That might be different too. But
yeah,
when someone's really, really, really heavy heel, especially as an outsider, and they're putting over the outside company and they're putting themselves over, you want the comeuppance to come, and it's not happening here. So there is a part of me where it's like, what's the fucking payoff? Or is it just, and I'm not saying this in a fanboy way, I'm thinking of it just in a logic standpoint. Is it just, I'm from AEW, I'm going to come beat this legend, I'm going to drag my ball sack and nuts all over your fucking face, you're going to say thank you, and then I'm going to go back and do what I was fucking doing before I was forced to come here. And I'm like, I don't know how much I love that story. But I feel like here's what will probably happen. What will probably happen is he plays up his bit, blah, 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 blah. Then during the match, they gain some level of, they do all the hits, mm-hmm. and then there's the tears and the emotion, and they both break. And there's the respect, They probably do have like a Shawn Michaels, I'm sorry, I love you. Maybe not that contrived, but their own version of it. And then at the end of it, they probably will do what they do in boxing. You know, every single boxing and MMA fight, they fucking hate each other. And then at the end, they're hugging each other and they're saying like, it was all promotion. It was just talk. I got so much love and respect for this dude. This dude fought his heart out. You know, I want, you know, they're going to do their version of that where it's like, he's a fucking legend, but, you know, and it's going to be like everything he said at this press conference probably means nothing. So I'm probably overanalyzing it, but I don't know that I love the story the way it's being presented because it's like, he's just completely shitting on Tanahashi and then he's going to beat him.
Yeah, normally, you'd want that comeuppance, but obviously, in this situation, I think Okada's going to win. And I think similar to what you said is going to happen. I think the beginning of the match, he's going to lean probably more into some of the heel antics and kind of underestimate Tanahashi. And I think that's where like the Tanahashi, like quick, like near, like sling blade, dragons, like all the Tanahashi, like near falls are going to start happening. He's going to be like, all right, I have a turn up to New Japan Okada to like beat him and he'll drop all the Don Callis stuff. And then you get your classic like Okada Tanahashi closing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be incumbent on them to do a little bit more very creative walking the line, because I'm not saying like, I know some people just want the nostalgia act. They want him to come in as, and he already said, he's like, I'm not going to come in with the coin drop again. My presentation's not going to be the Rainmaker of old. I'm coming in as AEW Okada, who does what the fuck he wants. He's like, Gato might be there with me that night, but this is not me cosplaying. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. I know some people don't want that. Like some New Japan, what are they called? Nuja Hadin?
Nuja Hadin?
What the fuck even is that? I don't even know what.
I don't know, dude. I just this is why I don't be posting on Twitter because let me just be like.
So, anyways, I get it. Like people want the nostalgia act. I think that's stupid. You know, he should be who he is, but I also feel like there is a fine line between like I'm gonna get heat for this match, but also we're trying to honor Tanahashi in like his final match versus like. I'm going to heal it up. Plus I'm beating him. Plus I'm never fucking coming back here. So fuck you guys. And then it's like, damn dog. All right.
Yeah. And I mean, this would be a perfect scenario where like, if somebody like a young guy could come out and like face Okada after he beats Tanahashi to try and stand up for Tanahashi, stand up for New Japan, and you build a program off of it. I think that would be great. But the chances of that.
Well, you know who that should be? It should be Tsuji because, you know, and okay. And then that brings up a really great point, right? So one reason I am not a fan of Okada being the guy, and there's a lot of talking points. We're going to get to them, but here's the biggest reason. The way this guy fucking left the company was fucking embarrassing. It really, really was. Now, I don't begrudge him for taking the payday and going to AEW. I mean, the guy had done everything there was to do. He was a team player for so many years. He carried the company on his fucking back. You know, he was an ace level guy, biggest star in Japan. I get it. And, you know, the yen was down and it was time to go cash in the con bucks. I get it. But the fact of the matter remains that for the last 6 months, for the first 6 months of his final year, it was very clear that they were building up a Okada versus the young generation storyline, and he cut that shit off. He didn't want to work with any of them. He buried Kato Kiyomiya. He completely stopped working. He stopped, like basically he just beat the brakes off of all the young guys and had all these heated, shit like with them, and then just stopped it. And then he spent like the last 7 or 8 months of his career doing 6-man tag team matches. Now, granted, they were some of the best 6-man tag team matches in the company's history with him and Ishii and Tanahashi, but he sequestered himself from the main event scene and sequestered himself from any sort of angle or program that would have necessitated him to have worked with any young guy in the company. And then he dipped. And when he did dip, he didn't put anyone over on the way out. And it's retreading old dynamics. We've talked about how a lot of guys don't put people over on the way out, like on the actual literal, like the last few matches or whatever, in modern times. I get it. But he had a long ass time to have done that for somebody, and he elected to do it for nobody. And I'm not just talking about those last couple matches. I'm talking about for the entirety of his last run with the company. And they were asking him to do that, and he refused to do it. And it kind of put the company. Now, I can't blame him for everything about the way the company is being run and the issues that they have. It's like, we're not going to scapegoat Okada here, but it would have made a world of difference for him to have laid his shoulders down one time for any of those guys. I don't care who the fuck it was. It could have been Tsuji. It could have been Uemura. It could have been Okan. I don't give a fuck who it is. It could have been any of those guys at some point in time, Narita, Shota Umino, but he elected to do it for nobody. And it left this void that really has never existed in the company's history. Every single ace level figure in the entire history of the company, going back to 1972, has done business with a young up and coming star to pass the torch. Now, I'm not saying Okada never lost matches. He put over like Jay White, he put over like Kota Ibushi, but he never, he put over like Will Ospreay once through cheating means, but he never like actually crowned the next guy as an ace. And I feel like that's a very selfish thing. And then the second thing with all that is the company thought he was resigning. So there was, and we've talked about how they dropped the ball in those negotiations themselves. And there's issues there. But the way that he behaved in those last few shows when wrestlers were trying to work angles with him, and like he embarrassed Okan and he embarrassed
Okan
was
just like staring them in the middle of the ramp.
There was like real heat. There was a lot of real heat backstage with a lot of the guys, and it just didn't fucking jive right. Fast forward, it's been almost 2 years since he's left. They've had all of this time to have potentially had him interact with the company. Now, granted, him staying away definitely makes this moment bigger. So I'll grant you that. But if we didn't know that this moment, it's not like they've been planning for him to be the opponent for the past 2 years or even within the past year. This is something that came together very quickly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have waited until Road to Anjo to make the announcement. This guy has done reportedly, from what everybody has said and everybody knows of the situation, he has done everything in his power to stay away from New Japan Pro Wrestling, even when they are partners and co-branded and have had plenty of crossover events. Like, he's wanted nothing to fucking do with it. So on that end, I'm kind of like, it's cool. He's here. It makes sense for Tanahashi. I still have a bad taste in my mouth about the way everything went down with his like final year and the way he left the company. And I don't know that I love that he's the guy getting the big reward and is going to close out the show winning. And then the reason that what you said that harkened back to it is like, at the end of the day, your hope and desire would be the perfect way to close it out is after, if he does beat Tanahashi, maybe not on the show, but maybe like in the backstage post-match or somewhere, someone would come out. Ideally, it would be like Tsuji after he's won the world title and he challenges Okada. And because they had the beef and they had that stare down when he was leaving the company and he's like, are you fucking proud of yourself?
Yeah.
You proud of the way that you're leaving? He's like, this is embarrassing, what you're doing here. And like Okada just no-sold him. Ideally, it would be him. But that's not what's going to happen. Do you know what I actually fear might happen?
Okada wins, Rainmaker pose, celebrate. You celebrate Tanahashi, show close. Good night, folks.
I would be more okay with that than this. I fear Takeshita, whether he wins or loses, is coming out to quote unquote avenge Tanahashi, but also to confront Kazuchika Okada, to build heat for the potential breakup between the two of them within the Don Callis family, and to set up the heat between their, potential unified title match in AEW. And if they close Tanahashi's retirement show with a fucking AEW unified title angle to send the show home, bro, I might stop. I might literally at that point stop doing the show. If the close of Tanahashi's retirement becomes an angle for Tony Khan's show, and you know what that's similar to? It's similar to the end of the first Forbidden Door when they closed the show and they did an angle to build to Blood and Guts. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, he said it was a co-branded show. Like, what the? It's sort of like that, except this would be more egregious because it would be like, all right, guys, well, come watch Dynamite on Wednesday night. You know, if they do that shit, I will be so fucking furious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen because I mean, as of right now, I'm feeling like Tsuji's going to win. He's going to be champ. And I think Takeshita losing and Okada winning on the same night, I think that's going to be the thing that kind of fuels the rivalry. I don't see the angle playing out there. I think that would happen on Dynamite where, you know, Don Callis is like celebrating, yeah, my guys were in the Tokyo Dome. Unfortunately, one of them won. One of them couldn't, you know, cut the mustard. And Okada, the leader of the Don Cat, like doing all that and gassing up, and then Okada.
I am totally fine with that. But if they do an angle at the end of the show between those two guys to close Wrestle Kingdom 20, I'm gonna fucking lose it. And not the kind of lose it where I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna scream and I'm gonna rant and rave. I might just quit. I might just shut the fuck up because I've got nothing left to say. Because if this company allows their biggest Tokyo Dome show since the era of Inoki to be headline closed by an AEW angle, I swear to fucking God, I might be done. That's a legit breaking point where I'm like, a what? And then the fact we're gonna be in the building. Oh my God.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, there's some stuff they could do that could make this whole show kind of bad. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's going to be a huge show, and at the end of the day, they're going to have all these eyeballs. You're going to have 40,000 plus people there. It's going to be on primetime television. You're going to have people watching all over New Japan World. Those people kind of cherry picking coming back in. Like now is the moment to capitalize on all this eyeballs and set the future up. Because, great, you have this one big Wrestle Kingdom show. That's awesome. But then what's the follow-up? What do you do with that momentum? Because there is no Tanahashi retirement match next year, the following year. Like, you're going to have to rely on the current roster and the stars you have to draw and build. Like, do you think you're going to draw 40,000 again if you don't capitalize? And so they need people to watch this show and be excited about New Japan. They need to see the young stars getting over. They need to see Tsuji highlighted. I don't know what Umino and Umaru in a tag title match, highlight them in a tag title match. Like Bolton Oleg, Aaron Wolf, all these guys need to look great, get them over, and get the crowd invested in them and push them going into next year. Because
I have a very nervous feeling about some of that because they are doing the portion of the show, or maybe the whole show. We still don't have it fully confirmed.
Well, from what I understand is what Meltzer was talking about this. It sounds like the show's going to happen, and then a select portion is going to air on TV Asahi in their primetime slot. And so it sounds like what's going to air on TV is probably going to be the title match, Tanahashi match, the Aaron Wolf match, and maybe like one other.
Well, that's what they've done in the past. So that's what I speculated last week. I mean, it's been so many years, but in the years past, that's what they used to do from time to time. They would have like free TV version and then, the rest in pay-per-view, stuff like that. So that makes sense. But at this current time, it feels like there's an abbreviated card. There are weird stuff on the card. We're going to talk about that. And I'm worried that some of the guys that could make a difference and make a mark and endear themselves and make a big difference might perhaps not get on the show. Like maybe the show isn't going to be as long as it normally is, which, me, I'm not always an advocate for long shows, but I also feel like the flagship event, the one that everyone is expecting to be a certain length should be that length. And I'm worried that, I guess I'm not too worried that it's like, okay, if it's a shorter show, that's fine. But what that really does is like, you've diminished how many people could make an impact. So for the few matches that you might have in this scenario, the pressure is even greater. You know what I mean? And most of that pressure would fall primarily on Yota Tsuji's back. And he would have to literally be the talking point, because right now, I mean, what other big Aaron Wolf? It's like, sure, Aaron Wolf could really be a big difference maker, but it's such a crapshoot, and I'm not hanging my hat on that. Even if it goes amazing, there are, for any young wrestler, there's just so much growing that has to happen. Like how much can we bank on that? And then
and that match is going to be all smoke and mirrors anyway. So.
Right. And you got a women's match, which may be fantastic, but it's not going to help New Japan in a long-term way. It might be good for the synergy between the two brands, and I'm all for that. But at the end, and then, this 4-way, that's junior 4-way, whatever, it's really going to come down to, at this point, from what we know on the card, Yota Tsuji better fucking win the world title, and he better have the performance of his life to where everybody is walking away saying like, Tsuji's that fucking dude, and he is made tonight. Because if what we're doing at the end of it is just focusing on the grandeur of Tanahashi's send-off, we've missed the mark here, and it's going to be another notch in the belt for New Japan. They had an opportunity and they fucked it again,
Yeah. So yeah, they definitely need that show, the headlines. Like, obviously Tanahashi retiring is going to be a big headline that you're not going to be able to avoid. Obviously, that's going to happen, but Tsuji needs to be a headline. Winning the championship. He wants to bring back V4 or whatever, but like, he definitely needs to be a focal point of that show and a talking point going into the new beginning and going into the rest of the year. And like you mentioned, for the abbreviated card, Rich was asking us today, what's Gabe Kidd doing? I'm like, man, there's no white man booked on the Dome right now. Like, there's no Gabe Kidd, no David Finlay, no Zack Sabre Jr. It's like, what the heck are those guys doing?
I mean, there is a lot of speculation going on and it happens every year, so it's no big news, but there is the speculation that there might be a foreigner exodus, like there is every year. But this time, I mean, I feel pretty confident based on some of those comments that Clark Connors made in his post-match in the Super Junior Tag League. Like, he's on his way out. I think what's his face is gone. I think Gabe Kidd's gone, bro. I've been saying that all year. I don't expect him to stick around.
Yeah. So yeah, very interesting to see what the rest of this Dome card shakes out to be. We have lots of
play fucking Stooge, dude.
We got lots of questions here that we'll probably cover some of the other talking points. You want to jump into those, or anything else you want to say?
I'm sure we'll cover anything else that needs to be said during most of these questions.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we've already addressed a lot of it too.
Yeah. So first, Wukong 901, he says, adding on to the previous conversation, with Okada versus Tanahashi being a set match, is it more likely to main event over Takeshita versus Tsuji? And there were comments from Okada saying that he should be the main event. He said, in the past, I would say the IWGP needs to be the main event, but he's like, I am the main event. I should main event this. He's like, we can do a fan vote if you want. So that there's a lot of talk and speculation on what's going to close this show.
Yeah, well, I mean, during the last pay-per-view, their major PLE, whatever you want to call it, during the last major, flagship show of New Japan, which was the Tanahashi Homecoming. During the world title match, they were discussing the world title match as though it would go on last, and then they had some press conferences, and it sounded like Tanahashi's retirement would in fact be the final match of of the show. But that was before Okada was announced. Now that Okada's been announced, and they've had so many fucking Wrestle Kingdom press conferences, bro. Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. But it sounds like it's in flux. Like, either one could go on last. And then the comments from Okada do make you think. Like we joked around at one time, like they should put it to a fan vote, but like we were joking, and now it's like, oh, they might actually. Who knows if they would do that? I don't know, but I mean, I really truly do believe Tanahashi and Okada should go on last, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, there's two ways to think about it. Number one, do you want Takeshita and Tsuji to have to follow Tanahashi's retirement match and ceremony? You know, is that something you want to do that evening? There might be no match out there that actually could follow that and live up to its full potential, you know? But then there's the other way of thinking about it. Do we want to watch does the last image we want to see of the night be Tanahashi losing in his final match ever and then just bawling his fucking eyes out for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that the image we want to go home with? Or do we want to see the New Japan guy standing tall with the world title, taking it back from the outsider? That's the question. And there's pros and cons to both sides.
Yeah.
And I see it both ways.
Yeah, I think a big factor is going to be what do they have planned for Tanahashi after the match. I know you mentioned a ceremony. Also, there is New Year's Dash the next day. So if you did have Okada Tanahashi in the summer main event, you know, he loses. Also, he'll do like a goodbye, but maybe you don't do the big, you know, flowers, all the send off. Maybe you wait till New Year's Dash. He kind of comes out, does his thing.
He's getting both. Like, he is going to get a send off at New Year's Dash, but he's also going to get some level of, I didn't mean like the full, like, all right, let's dong the 10. But they're going to do something meaningful at the end of it. Maybe fireworks, maybe, you know, who knows who comes out and embraces him. I don't know, but they're going to do something.
Yeah. And that will be tough to follow. That would be a tall task for Tsuji and Takeshita. And there's speculation if that happens, you know, people will be walking out because, you know, the big draw for this show is Tanahashi's retirement. So if you get that,
yeah, you don't want that. You do not want people walking out during the world title match.
Yeah, and then and they joke.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They kind of mentioned that during what show was it recently? There was a show recently where Tanahashi was semi-main event. Oh yeah, the Tanahashi Homecoming. They were talking about, you know, he was semi-main event, and then the match happened, and people were leaving, and so a very similar thing could happen on a much bigger scale.
I mean, I've been a proponent that he should go on last in his final match, but now I'm a little more skeptical because I'm like, okay, it's going to be AEW heel Okada. I didn't anticipate he would be wrestling anybody that would heel it up, to be honest with you. Like, I knew he'd have an adversary, but I figured whoever it was they were bringing in, it was going to be more of a dream match. This is, you know, whether it was Kenny or Danielson or Kento or Naito or Nakamura, whatever. All of those, you can see situations where there might be some harsh words, but none of them are playing heel. But Okada's coming in full heel persona. That's a little different. So I'm like, damn, do you want the heel to go over hard on the baby face at the end of the night? There is a part of me that feels like maybe Tanahashi, like, it's not going to happen. And I do this every year where I feel like one of the New Japan guys should get an upset win on one of the AEW guys in the big spot. And it never fucking happens. But I do feel like, yeah, you know what? Tanahashi has lost to this dude 4 of their last 5. And the last 4 were all basically kind of send-off matches between 2021 and 2024. Would it be such a big deal if he did fucking roll up Okada unexpectedly?
No, I mean, it would be definitely the shock of the evening, and a kind of a, you know, we've seen recently, you know, Sting getting a big win on his last night out, and Tanahashi, getting a win and upping that Tokyo Dome win-loss record against Okada.
I just, there's a part of me that feels like, and in any other circumstance, 110 times out of 100, you ask me in any match between Okada and Tanahashi in 2026, who should win that match? It is always Kazuchika Okada. There's no scenario where Tanahashi should be beating him at this point in time. Even when he sent him from the company, I was like, Okada still should beat him, even on the way out.
Yeah.
But bro, can you imagine the fucking pop in the building if Tanahashi pinned this dude 1, 2, 3 unexpectedly in his final match? And I'm not talking about high fly flow 1, 2, 3. I'm not talking, cloverleaf and the tag
Dragon suplex.
I'm not talking dragon suplex, final cut, sling blade, none of that shit. I'm talking this dude goes for the fucking Rainmaker. He goes underneath it. They turn back and he rolls him up and he gets the 1, 2, 3. and it's enough protection to where it's like, he just fucking caught me. Like, I can't believe this motherfucker caught me. And you know what that would do? I've actually given no thought to this until this moment. Like, I'm riffing off the top of my head, but I'm like, it would play so perfectly into the idea of what the Rainmaker shock was in 2012. And then there would be the final ace shock, the final ace shock in the dome in 2026.
I've been waiting years for this.
Because at the end of the day, but then in that scenario, Takeshita might need to go over Suji.
Right. Or they both lose. But then they're still like, oh, well, you lost. No, well, you lost too. And that's kind of the angle up there.
Bro, they might not even acknowledge this shit on AEW TV the next time they come back. But I feel like if that were to happen, that would be, I'm thinking about how you send the fans home at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. And the fact, if Okada wasn't healing it up so much, I wouldn't even be saying any of this. But because Okada is healing it up so much, I'm like, it's kind of fucking hard to do the right thing here where he's healing it up this hard and he's going to beat him and he's just going to go home. I'm like, damn, like that kind of sucks.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe they're trying to send us home the same way that they did for, 2020 with Kenta laying on Naito. That was the last image.
But there was a payoff. There was a payoff to that.
Yeah.
Okada's not coming back to do business with anybody, and he's not going to lay down. The only person he would probably lay down for right now, if anybody at all, it would be Tanahashi. And who knows what kind of payday and, who knows what kind of payoff this guy would have to fucking get to do that. But there's a part of me that's like, if you wanted to really play into it and send the fans home unbelievably ecstatic and have one of the greatest like boom moments, like pops that you could ever imagine in Tokyo Dome history, it'd be Tanahashi rolling up Okada and the fucking place comes unglued, bro. Unglued.
Yeah, it would be a crazy moment, but I don't know. I just don't see that happening.
But doesn't that feel so much better? Don't you? It's Wrestle Kingdom. You want to send the fans home on that high.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Tanahashi goodbye. I mean, him, bowing and crying and wiping his sweat over everybody.
That's gonna be fucking sad. And I feel like some of the stuff that Okada's saying about like sending off that era will be true.
Yeah.
See y'all. So yeah, I think it's difficult I think Tanahashi should go on last, but I'm more hesitant about it because of the dynamics at play with the heel face alignment and the way the story's being portrayed.
Yeah.
But they'll probably pull it off. I'll probably be eating my words when it's all said and done.
Next question here from Doc. He says, does leaning on AEW for their biggest show in 3 decades make current New Japan look lesser? Also, do you guys agree that Tanahashi should just win and send Okada back to Jacksonville?
Well, you just heard my I laid out a pretty compelling argument for how if you were going to do it, this is how you do it. And let me be clear, if it was just Okada coming in as a dream match opponent, then no dice. Okada beats him. It's the Okada, it's the cocky
AEW Don Callis.
it's that's making me feel like maybe he should lose. That's the only reason. If it weren't that, if it were, yeah, like he's throwing jabs, but he's still, it's being presented in a dream match per presentation, then yeah, he fucking beat, just like the last 4 or 5 matches of theirs were, then yeah, he should beat Tanahashi. But right now I'm like, fuck, like he's such a heel and he's not coming back. They might need to pin him.
Yeah. As far as his first part of the question, I mean, the Tanahashi Okada rivalry, I mean, is, you know, synonymous with also New Japan, and it's a rivalry that launched the company in the golden ages. So I get that Okada's an AEW guy, but to fully say they're relying on AEW for the show, I mean, they are using a guy that helped build this company in this rivalry. And so there's a lot of history there. So I wouldn't fully call it laying on AEW. Also, you got Takeshita in there as well, but they're still two of the best wrestlers in the world, two super talented guys. I think in a situation like this where they fail to get their own guys over, you kind of need guys like Okada and Takeshita on this card until you have some stars made in New Japan.
I will disagree with you for this one reason. I agree with most of the points you're making, Jeremy, but I think what both of you are saying is irrelevant because none of them, Okada, Tanahashi, Tsuji, none of them sold these tickets. Everyone is buying the tickets solely for Tanahashi. This is a house that was made off of his back, and it wouldn't have fucking mattered who any of these 3 guys were. Do I think that I think Okada is one of the best potential business, pairings for the Tanahashi match. I question whether they would have done better business overall. Like, would they sell more tickets with Nakamura or Naito? I kind of think there's a possibility that that's the case. But at the end of the day, AEW didn't draw this house. And in fact, New Japan didn't draw this house. Tanahashi's drawing the house, and that's the bottom line.
Right. They sold, 20,000 tickets before Tanahashi's match was even announced. I think even before we got a clear picture of what the title match was going to be. So
I think it speaks more to New Japan feeling like they needed to depend on AEW talent in these spots, when the reality is, if there ever were a time for you to try something outside of the box, and I'm not saying I'm upset about what they're doing, I'm fine with it, but now would have been the time if you wanted to try something in the title picture that was a little, last year wasn't the time to do that with Zach and Nomino.
Yeah.
This year would be the time. I'm not saying that they should have done that, but if they wanted to do something that's like, we're not going to put all the pressure on these guys because Tanahashi's selling the house anyways, we can kind of experiment. That would have been the time. So I think the fact that New Japan felt the necessity to rely on those 2 guys speaks more to New Japan's attitude about things than the reality of the situation, which is just that Tanahashi sold the house.
Yeah. Next question here from West Commission 7252 says, why does Okada look so disinterested? So several pictures going around. Does. Yeah. From the press conference. And I saw that, they were talking about that in Discord. I'm like, Okada always, we were sitting right in front of that man in Texas for G1. That man looked bored out of his mind. That man always looks disinterested during press conferences. So I know there are people that are really leaning into, he's being forced to be here. He doesn't want to be here. He's blue face.
I don't think he wants to be there. And the main reason I say that is because that's what every single report has said for 2 years, is that he has wanted nothing to do with, who knows? I don't know the guy. Maybe this is this is the one thing he would have come back for. It's like, okay, I don't want to be involved with the company, but I'll do it for Tanahashi, and I'm excited to do that. Maybe that's his actual attitude, but I'm in the camp of, dude doesn't want to be there.
Maybe he doesn't, but I don't really see. But I don't think what he's presenting has anything to do with how he's feeling.
I don't either, because he's always like that. Yeah. That's always the case. That's not different or new in any way.
Yeah, that man was in the middle of a historic, title run and still looked the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Next question from Rainbow and Slam Pig. He says, given the crash out from a portion of the online fan base about Tanahashi's final opponent, Do you think that laying out a match including multiple tribute spots to other notable opponents, including Nakamura, is likely, or will that just be interpreted as rubbing salt in the wound?
Well, Tanahashi's been using the landslide recently, which it's funny because people are like, oh, he just started using that and it's a callback to Nakamura. Maybe there is some truth to that, but I've been watching Tanahashi a lot lately, obviously for the project. And the truth is, like, he uses the landslide. He started using it as a jab during some of the Nakamura feuds, but then he just kind of held on to it, and it became like in a big match, I'm going to pull this out sort of thing. And he has done that over the years. And I don't think people realize how often he actually does in big matches. It's not all the time, but when it's like, I'm desperate, I'll go for a landslide. That is part of his MO at this point. I don't think people realize that. But at the same time, do I think that there will be any allusion to the idea that a Nakamura spot will be worked into the match? Yeah, why wouldn't it be, considering his connection to both of these performers?
Yeah.
Of course it probably will be, and I don't think that adds salt to the wound. I think it plays into the kayfabe of everything.
Yeah, I think and that will be an epic moment of, Tanahashi tries to do like a Kinshasa or does the landfall and doing some of Nakamura's poses or whatever. Like, that could be a cool moment for the crowd, or even Dickhead Okada being the one to do some of the Nakamura stuff could generate some heat. So,
I mean, Nakamura was his mentor, the leader of Chaos, who brought him in. They were tag team partners. Like, they were, senpai kohai relationship. Like, when Nakamura left the company and they were going through Cork and Hall, who was it that was crying their eyes out and parading him around on his shoulders? It was Okada. That's his boy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they are not cool.
Right. But and throughout the match, I mean, it'd be cool to see. I mean, if they did like a Destino and some other like crazy big moves, I think that would be cool to sprinkle in, and I think that would be an added wrinkle to the Okada Tanahashi match, because I feel like they didn't really bring in other people's finishers in their closing sequences. I mean, sometimes, but I think that could be a cool way to kind of change this matchup by, maybe Okada does like a V trigger and tries to do the one wing angel, and Tanahashi does this Destino. Like, it'd be cool to kind of mix it up.
Tanahashi should hit him with the Shining Wizard, Kamigoye, and a one-winged angel for the 1, 2, 3.
You're like, you ain't never kicked out of this one. Wow. Raymond also said, I would have preferred Nakamura, but I am okay with Okada. Is there anyone other than these two who you would have rather have seen than Okada in this spot?
I would have rathered most of the people that I've personally listed. It doesn't mean that they are necessarily better. It's more of a personal standpoint. I do think that it makes a lot of sense that it is Okada. My main reason I don't want to see Okada and Tanahashi again is because it's been done to death. That's my main issue with it. I would have rather it been the names that I've listed in the past. I would also say personally, I think Naito also is a really good pick, who is at the bottom of my list of people I would have wanted to see. I would have rather it have been Nakamura or Omega or Danielson or Kento Miyahara. Those are like the 4 guys, and Kento's kind of just a fun pick. I'm sort of like holding out hope. I'm like, will All Japan make the fucking call so we can go work over there and work Kento one fucking time before this is all said and done? But like, yeah, I would have rather it been Nakamura, Kenny, or Danielson. I think that those are the best picks.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that last week. And personally, as a fan, as somebody's going to be in the building, seeing a Kenny Omega Tokyo Dome match would have been great. And at this point, I don't think Kenny's probably going to be on that card. But we kind of laid it out last week. Like, there's a great story and there's strong power and there's history there that could have worked really well for an Omega Tanahashi Dome rematch. But at the end of the day, I mean, Tanahashi Okada, obviously legendary rivalry. It will be, I think, 10 years from their first Tokyo Dome match.
That was their first Tokyo Dome match was in 2013.
Gotcha. So a little bit more. So
13 years.
Yeah. So some time from their first Tokyo Dome match. Like there's a lot of history there. So yeah, I get why it has to be Okada, why they picked Okada. But yeah, there are some other options I would have preferred personally. Next question from MJ. He says, after Wrestle Kingdom, are you guys planning to start a GLATE podcast?
Brother, I don't know if GLATE will even be around by the time.
Right. I heard they had a horrible last show as far as attendance. Next question. Stale Burger Bun. Do you think Tony Khan blocked a Nakamura match, or is that just an unfounded conspiracy theory? Someone had to ask it. And that is another big piece of this thing. We talked about, there have been several teases of Nakamura being the opponent. The whole WWE Japan tour happened with him, doing the Aishimasu, and Tanahashi be like, oh, I heard something. And there seemed to be a lot of smoke to that fire there. There were reports of Nakamura being cleared to do the match, that the match is happening. And then there's talks about politics and all this stuff. And it came out today. Dave was saying that there was never a deal done for Nakamura to do the match, and that Nakamura has in his contract that he can do stuff, but it still has to be approved by WWE and nothing.
Well, let me clarify some of that, because I think he used very careful wording, and I think it's important to, because I read that pretty carefully, and I was like, well, let me just say, I don't want to say the wrong thing here. Here's what he said. He said that Nakamura definitely wanted to do the match. Okay, that's one. Nakamura wanted to do the match, and especially after he was making the teases in Tokyo. So we know that. And then Dave asked people in WWE if the match was happening, and they said they didn't say no. They didn't say there was never a deal discussed. They didn't say there wasn't a deal on the table. They said there's no deal in place. At that moment, there was no deal in place. But they also said to him that there are provisions in Nakamura's contract to do things in Japan, and it has to be okayed through TKO. They didn't say we haven't okayed him. They also didn't say they had okayed him. Mm-hmm. And honestly, nothing about what Dave said there. I think the way it's worded is a little, like when you read it, it almost reads like there was never a deal in place, and they didn't say, and there was no talks, and like it almost sounds like it's totally contradictory to the reports, the rumors, and the stories that are out there. But if you read it carefully, I think everything Dave said there kind of jives with the story that has been out there, kind of in the dark quarters of whoever is talking about this thing in the back. I'm trying to choose my words a little carefully here, but I didn't hear anything that was that he said that was contradictory to what people believe happened there.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, there's politics. There's going to be politics in this AEW versus WWE war. New Japan's an AEW partner. Like, there's going to be, and this is pro wrestling. Stuff like this has happened for decades and decades. Stuff like this, and there's going to be politics. There's going to be guys wanting to make sure that they're not hurting relationships and trying to smooth things over. And so, also, we've heard some stuff, but we don't know for sure what went down.
Yeah, you know what? I think I need to. This is just my own conscience kind of getting to me. So I felt like last week, if you listen to the show, you, me, and Karen, I felt like we did a very, very good job laying out the arguments for what has transpired here in terms of the Nakamura, Okada, WWE, AEW, Tanahashi, New Japan issue. We kind of laid out the reports, the timeline, the tea leaves, and all of that. But there was one thing that I said last week a couple times that I feel like I do need to go back on. I kept saying we don't know anything. And in a certain sense, we don't, because we have not heard anything firsthand from anybody in particular that we could verify and say, okay, yes, this is true. But we have heard things for a while now. We just haven't said it, and it's not verified, and we've kind of kept our mouths shut because, it's not really our place to spread the news. But at this point, I feel a little safe to say, like, yes, we've heard things, because you listen to other podcasts that are out there. You hear, you go onto the Discords, and everybody seems to have heard a little something.
Yeah.
And I think some of it comes down to, go back and listen to what we said last week as far as what we laid out. I think it is very logical as to, do I think that there was something in play? Like, it's very clear that New Japan was teasing the Nakamura match. It's very clear that Nakamura was teasing the Tanahashi match, and WWE Japan was posting that stuff there. And then at some point, shift switched it, and it's not that anymore. Now we know that it's Okada.
Yeah.
And people are analyzing that and speculating, and they think they know. And I don't think anyone actually fully knows, except for the people that are involved in that issue, whatever that may be. I've heard versions of it from different people. Honestly, we've had people reach out, but I will tell you this. I think he blocked it. And I think it really depends on what you personally believe. And I'm not even saying this in like there's a part of me that says, fuck Tony Khan. There is a part of me internally that really does feel like but you know what? I'll also say this, fuck TKO and fuck WWE, because I think that this was a case of proxy politics and an arms race between two companies owned by billionaires playing with Tanahashi's retirement match and using, New Japan as a bargaining chip to swing their dicks around. In both cases, I personally do believe that. I think there's a lot of smoke to the fire. And but at the end of the day, do I think that there was a deal on the table and Tony blocked it? Yeah, I do. That's me personally. Other people don't believe that. And it might not be true, but I am in the camp. I think he did that. And you know what? I think that I say give it a week. I think within a week or two of the Tokyo Dome actually happening, I think the truth about what happened probably will start coming out, whatever that may be. And I don't even know if we actually know what it is, but I feel like there are people out there that know. And I feel like once the match is over and everything's happened, people start talking.
Yeah, I know people there was a lot of memes of like, of Okada and Nakamura. I consent, and Tony Khan being like, I don't consent.
Yeah, Joe Gagne put that out, and it was fucking hilarious because I don't think he really necessarily thought that.
He was just trolling. Yeah,
he was just doing rage bait, and people were losing their fucking minds.
But Sean Ross Sapp commented under that and was like, "That's not what happened." And so I don't know. There's a lot of people who are saying they know what happened. A lot's not been made public. So like, I don't really have a strong opinion. Like, obviously, I think something happened. Like, there were teases for a reason, and whether that was talk started, a deal was laid out. Like, I don't know how far things got on the WWE New Japan side. And I think it's very clear that with AEW New Japan working together, like Tony Khan, he's going to want one of his guys at the Tokyo Dome. We've been seeing since the partnership, we've seen, Kenny come back, work Ospreay, work Gabe Kidd. We've been seeing, John Moxley's been at the Dome. Like, guys have been featured on the Dome since the partnership. So it kind of makes sense that, Tony Khan will want an AEW guy featured at the Dome in this retirement match and want this to be an AEW New Japan thing and not have a WWE involvement. So I definitely think Tony Khan probably definitely had some feelings about it. I'm sure there was conversation on his end about things, but I don't know.
I don't give a fuck about the way Tony Khan feels about it at all, to be honest with you. And
I'm just laying it out. I
don't think this partnership is beneficial to New Japan anymore. Now, granted, I don't know the business end of it, so who knows how many zeros are on the check that Tony is cutting them for the talent sharing and the co-branded show once or twice a year. But the reality is this partnership has done much more harm than good for New Japan in the long run. And last year, it was very clear that management within Japan was not happy with where the partnership has gone. And it has really retracted in many ways. And I do feel like this is a situation, putting the Tanahashi thing aside, I think it's been a long time for them to just say, fuck off. It's done. This is not a beneficial thing for these two companies to work together. It's not what it was envisioned to be. They have shown that they don't have the capability to cohesively work together in a long-term beneficial way that that benefits everybody. And that's always the case. And I'm not saying like New Japan is the most altruistic. Have they ever fucked their partners and the people that were on the B side of their partnerships? Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm not really the biggest fan of this sort of shit. And at this point, I don't think it really matters. And I think that they should at this point just be like, fuck off, Tony. It doesn't matter what he or anyone thinks about this. At the same time, do I want them to get in bed with like WWE? Fuck no. Like that's a death knell. Yeah. But I think that in a perfect world, the best opponent you can analyze it any way you want. I've seen fans join the different sides of the proxy war and crash out on both sides. And really the fans just, what's that word? Like they co-opted the proxy war of the companies. And because they have these tribalistic identities, just kind of invested themselves into the argument for each side and identify with that because that's their brand. And to me, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just think Tanahashi should be able to fucking wrestle who he wants to wrestle in his retirement match. And I believe that was Nakamura, and I believe it was stopped by Tony Khan. I believe that. Maybe that's not what happened. I also think if Sean Ross Sapp wants to come out and say that's not what happened, then he should present if he's a journalist and he knows what happened, it is his responsibility to report what happened. And if you can't report what happened, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because you're not a journalist. If you can't say what happened, then you're not doing your job. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't have a strong mindset on what happened, what didn't happen. But clearly something happened. And yeah, I mean, I know people are kind of criticized, like, would Nakamura even have a great match with Tanahashi? But the thing with Nakamura and Tanahashi, I don't think it's so much about the match quality versus more of just the history between those guys and the moment and what it would have meant to Tanahashi's retirement. Like, I do think that obviously Okada is the one that's in a better shape than Nakamura and continues to still have top end, match of the year level matches, and will probably carry Tanahashi to an excellent Tokyo Dome match. But I think that this is more than just about the match quality. I think it's about celebrating Tanahashi and making it memorable, doing what he wants. And I mean, people are saying that he wanted Nakamura. We can't verify that. Maybe he did want Okada. Maybe he's fine with Okada. I don't know. But I do think the Nakamura thing would have been cool. It would have been more about the aura and the moment and the history and legacy between those guys than the match quality. Now, obviously, yeah, if you're laser focused on, what match is going to be the better match, what's going to, get you your star ratings, and obviously Okada's probably going to make sure that match is great and that it's going to deliver. So that, I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking for out of that match. And, I thought Nakamura would have been cool just because it's been so long since he's been there. He was, Tanahashi's big rival before Okada came along. And so I feel like there's a lot that would have made that moment special. But at the end of the day, I'm fine with it being Okada. Personally, like, when we saw the Dallas match, which was supposed to be like one of the last times, and we've seen since then, several of the last time matches. So personally, like, I'm kind of good on that. Like, I've had my closure on that rivalry. I don't think we got the big closure of the Tanahashi-Nakamura rivalry and could have been a full circle moment there.
The Okada-Tanahashi match that we saw in Dallas was that was the best version of the last few matches they had following, the Tanahashi regains the IWGP title and kind of comes back and beats, balloons Okada, that whole chapter. That was like the last time that the matches they were having mattered. Everything since then has been like all right, this is the last time we're doing it. We're going to close out the chapter. And the best version of that was in 2019.
Yeah.
And it's only diminished since then. So I will say this. I do think that would the Nakamura match on paper be better than the Okada match? Not necessarily. But I do think it would be more special. It would be more meaningful like, I've heard the argument where people are like, yeah, people criticize Okada coming back when Nakamura walked out on this company too. And there is some validity to that. And it's like, you know, could Nakamura have returned at any point in the last, 10 years or so or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have. And they're like, it's a double, it's people that are, arguing for the one thing without looking at the other side and blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But I will say this. I don't think of it in terms of like, oh yeah, I'm going to give Nakamura the pass. It's not that. It's that I personally believe he is just simply the best opponent for Tanahashi to close his career out. He is his definitive career rival. And I agree with you, Jeremy, in that they didn't ever have the final closeout moment to bring everything full circle. I also will tell you this. For New Japan, that is the better opponent. I know that they've already sold a lot of tickets, but if they announced it was Nakamura, they would sell all the tickets. They would do more. Now they're going to do business with Okada, but they would do more business with Nakamura. And they would have more eyes on the product internationally than the Okada match is going to draw. And that can only serve to help New Japan when they expose people to the rest of the product. They are going to have people tune in for Tanahashi's retirement match. That all I'm saying, it would have been more. It would have been bigger. And for New Japan, they would have done better business. And to me, and those are all just pluses. But the bottom line is I believe the idea that this is who Tanahashi wanted to close his career out against. And I believe it was on the table.
Yeah.
So for those reasons, I think that's what should have happened. Now, maybe that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I believe it. It doesn't mean it's true, but I believe it. And if it is the case, it is a fucking shame that didn't happen, if that's the case. Now, if Tanahashi was the one who made the call and he's like, I want to go out against the Rainmaker, this is what I want, fine. But I believe it because they wouldn't have been teasing that match. This Okada match wouldn't have come together so late in the game. And I'm very questionable about the reporting of Sean Rossap and Dave Meltzer, not because they're not credible. They absolutely are, but they don't talk to anybody in fucking Japan. They don't have connections in Japan. We know that they are, and I'm not saying this in like, oh, they're on the payroll, they get paid by AEW. It's not like that, but we know they talk to them. We know that they are more connected and have more access to that company than they do even WWE, but they have contacts in both of those companies. That's true. And I think that the timing of these stories is just so kind of funny, the same way how like right around the time of G1, TV Asahi is so high on, Sean Rossap, TV Asahi is so high on Takeshita, blah, 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 blah. And then the finals come and it's like, Tony Khan had nothing to do with Evil being the one who was in the finals against him. He's not been high on him at all. And it's like, where are you getting these reports from, Sean? Who are you talking to? And then suddenly there's all this excitement about Nakamura potentially being the guy. And then suddenly Dave and Sean are both dropping stories about how it's a pipe dream and how, maybe it's on the table, but it's a long shot. Where do you think that shit is getting fed to them from? It's clearly not New Japan and it's clearly not WWE. Put your thinking caps on. Who's feeding them that info? Who does it serve to have a counter story to basically say that the Nakamura thing's not going to happen? It's very clear who that is.
Yeah. So I feel like there's also still a lot to this story that will, like you said, potentially could come out, and who knows, maybe Tanahashi will do a book one day and the full story and all the facts and figures will come out. But yeah, we will. I don't think that will happen, but I think people will start talking and say what actually took place here. Yeah.
That's just me personally. But, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, I think it should have been Nakamura. I think there is more upside, and I believe that that's who Tanahashi wanted to face.
Next question here from Les Commission 7252 says, I felt like Nakamura was the only right answer to face Tanahashi, but after hearing the coin drop and his original music playing, I'm not opposed to seeing Okada at Wrestle Kingdom wrestle Tanahashi for the final time, as it will be my first viewing time seeing them wrestle at the Dome From the reveal to now, are you happy that the Okada's the final opponent for Tanahashi? I wouldn't be disappointed if they do a fan vote or make this the main event for Tanahashi's last official match.
I liked the angle in Anjo. It was fantastic. The press conference made me reticent against the whole thing. And now I'm nervous about how they're going to carry the whole thing out. But other than that, it's like, do I think Okada's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and this is the greatest in-ring rivalry of all time. So, I mean, I get it. There is a lot of upside to the whole thing. There are things I don't like about it. I didn't love the Okada Omega match that I saw in Dallas. And I'm nervous that I'm going to watch another version of that where I'm like, fuck, it's, 2026. This is not what this was in 2016. Like,
right.
But I think I have different expectations here. I know what we're walking into, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it at the end of the day being Okada, even though that's not like my number one pick. And I think there's so many positives with it being Okada. And I think the one wrinkle that will make this different than all their other final matches is that it's in the Tokyo Dome. And like we just know there is a certain magic in the air in the Tokyo Dome. And I think with 40,000 people, I think that there's going to be like the near fall, I think, are going to be even greater just because there's going to be so many people there. They're going to be biting on everything. So I do think the atmosphere of the Tokyo Dome is going to make this final match different and elevated above some of the quote unquote final matches they've had from 21 to 24.
I hope the crowd wails. I hope Tanahashi loses and everything goes quiet and there's no music and then you just hear like, Bro, one time, I swear to God, I was dating this girl many, many years ago, and she wanted to go to the movies, and she also wanted to give blood. And she thought it'd be a really good idea if we went and gave blood and then do the gimmick where they give you the free tickets. But like, bro, I'm not good at giving blood. Like, I've gotten better as the years go by, but like, I am prone to passing out. So I'm like, dog, like, I'm gonna pass out. So like, she sends me in. I go in first to go do this shit, right? And I come out, and she's got her fucking ticket, and I'm like, how do you have your ticket? And she's like, oh yeah, they screened me and they said that I couldn't give blood today. I think it was something like, I think she'd given it too recently, but they still gave her the ticket for like trying or whatever. So only I had to give the blood. And then guess what? I fucking pass out on top of it. So I pass out. I'm having a terrible time. I get the ticket. This is like in 09, 08, something like that. So I'm like, all right, well, at least, there's a payoff. We're going to go watch a fucking movie, right? So I think we're going to see Fast 5, which I'm not even a Fast dude, but Fast 5 was like it was like
it was
Fast and Furious as fucking.
The Rock's in.
The Rock is here. It's a big deal. And I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to Fast 5. And she was like, I want to see my sister's keeper. And I was like, what the fuck is my sister's keeper? And bro, it's this movie where one girl has cancer. So their parents, I can't remember if they just had another. I think they might have like created another daughter in a lab, something like a test. Not like in a lab. I'm talking about like like IVF, like a test tube baby.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose of having the second child was to create a donor for the older sister who had cancer to help keep her alive. So like the whole story here is like you have this younger daughter who, they've been using as a means to keep the other, and there's all this resentment, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, spoiler alert, the older sister's gonna die. She got cancer. And like there's this scene with her and Cameron Diaz where she like tells the mom like it's time to just fucking stop and let me go. And when Cameron Diaz like realizes that like her daughter's gonna die, she just fucking loses it. And bro, I have never outside of church, outside of like a Pentecostal tent camp revival sort of scenario where people are like travailing, I have never been in a public place where so many people cried audibly at this scene, and it was so many women, but at this scene, they were like, bro, it was like 60 women crying. Wow. And I swear to God, if you've never seen the movie, it is sad as fuck. I'm not going to lie, but like, I cry at movies. I'm not going to like lie about it. I cry all the time at movies, but I didn't fucking cry at this moment. Like, but everybody in the crowd was like, like crazy. Dan says something.
Oh my gosh.
And I said all that to say this. I want that to Jeremy, you growing up in church, so you know what I'm talking about. I've been in revival meetings where like they start playing the piano and like everyone's crying and like that's the only, but like that's expected. You don't expect that when you're going to see a fucking movie. But bro, I want that to be how Tanahashi goes out. I want Tanahashi when he loses. I want no coin drop. I want no music. I just want it to be like 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. And it's dead ass silent for like a few seconds. And then you just hear a woman like,
just hear you.
No, it could be me. I could do it. Like, I want everyone to start. Have you ever seen like when like the dictator of like North Korea, when like they die and everyone has to mourn and they say like you have to cry and everyone has to perform and cry? I want that to be what happens with Tana. I want people to like, I want them to rent their clothing and put ash on their face, you know? That's what I want. Anyways, that's why I said all that.
Oh man.
Next question.
Next question from Fooly Cooley Brandy. Says that the discourse surrounding the AEW New Japan relationship is becoming increasingly toxic. What tangible things can AEW do in 2026 to rebuild some goodwill?
I don't give a fuck. Honestly, I really don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't hate AEW like as a product, as their thing, but I just don't think that this crossover has really been that beneficial in the long run. I think there was some cool stuff in the beginning, but it's not what I envisioned it to be. It's not what I think it could be, what it should be. Not even talking about like the part where it's like they beat us like a drum. I just don't think it's equitable. Like, how many cool fucking things could you do considering the two rosters that those companies have? And it just never happens. So I don't think from a business standpoint or from a fan service standpoint, it really makes sense anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure much they can do. I mean, it's like, I would say stop signing people, but I mean, if all the foreigners potentially leaving next year, like, who knows, that's not going to stop.
I think obviously that's the major sticking point for a lot of people. It's like they've signed a lot of their talent and they're always little brothering New Japan, right? I'm not even going down that road. I think that those are plausible things, whatever. For me, it's just like, they don't do cool shit. Nothing cool happens in this partnership. And I don't think that they help one another's business that much. For those two reasons alone, putting the other shit aside, I just don't see the point anymore. Yeah. Let AEW be AEW. Let New Japan be New Japan. And if you want to have talents work, who are freelance or who have provisions in their, in their contracts over there to come over to Japan, fine, whatever. That's always kind of been the case. But we envisioned this really cool ass thing and it's just not cool. That's the biggest thing. It's not cool.
Yeah, there's been no like big, Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre is probably one of the last cool crossover matches that have happened. Also, Gabe and Kenny. But it's been.
Bro, they didn't even want Kenny to be there that time.
You're right.
They tried to stop him from going to the Dome. They were pissed. That wasn't out of the goodness of TK's heart. That was out of the goodness of Kenny's heart.
Yeah. So I feel like there hasn't been there's not much like. Also, there's cool stuff to do, but at this point, I don't feel like on the AEW side they're really invested in the current stars to want to do something cool. So, Moving on to the next question. That dude named Menace. How close was the Tanahashi Nakamura match from happening? What do you think of the rumor that TK blocked that move? We kind of touched on that. Anything else you want out of there?
I'll say this definitively, and this doesn't understand. I'm not saying we've never heard anything, but I'm not saying that this is true either. I'm telling you what me, young boy Joshua Smith, what I believe based on everything that is out there publicly. I think the match was on the table. I think it could have for sure happened. And I do believe Tony Khan stopped it from happening. I don't think that's the whole story, mind you. I do think that there were bad players in total. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's only Tony. But I do think that at the end of the day, Tony did block it. I believe that. And I believe if he hadn't have done that, the match would have happened. Point blank, period. I believe that. Doesn't mean it's true? No. Do I know that that is 100% true? No. But I do believe it. And I don't really believe in bullshit. So
all I'm going to say is do your own research. Figure it out on your own who blocked it, who didn't block it.
Tony.
Why
the fuck you think Okada's in Japan? That motherfucker didn't want to come back.
Well, also at this Wrestle Kingdom press conference, they announced a 4-way match, not for the title, but for a number 1 contender spot, which will be El Desperado versus Sho versus Kosei Vegeta versus Taiji Ishimori. Winner will get a future shot at Doki. Several questions here. MJ says, 4-way number 1 contender, Schmaz. Has this company lost its mind? What are we doing here?
It doesn't make a lot of sense at all. And I'm really wondering, like, is Doki going to still defend his title on the Dome? Is he just off the Dome? Is he hurt? Why the fuck couldn't he have just been in this match instead of Sho? What's going on? It doesn't make sense. And I think it is funny that after they did the press conference announcing Tanahashi and Okada and all the big news around that, but then they also solidified that this 4-way match was happening. The vast majority of the comments from the domestic fan base were people freaking out about how bad a booking decision this match is.
Yeah, I don't get it. And I have seen teases of like Doki potentially could be doing something like on the website report. It's like, where does this leave Doki for the Dome? And they've been kind of like speculating like maybe Doki has something special for the Dome. So I don't know. Maybe there is some kind of crazy opponent for Doki and he just didn't want to wrestle any of these guys in kayfabe. I don't know. But as of right now, this just looks dumb. Like, why are we having this 4-way instead of just having a championship 4-way? And is this the whole thing of Desperado not won the title match on the big shows? Like, it's New Year's Dash. Is that going to be the main event? Like the winner, Despy challenging Doki for the title. I'll
tell you what it was, Jeremy. I have some inside scoop. I was told that not only was Nakamura going to be the guy, but the reason that they have Doki off on the sidelines, he was going to wrestle Rey Mysterio Jr. No, I'm just playing. I just made that shit up.
The young boy Josh Smith reports.
I made that shit up.
Oh, man.
But it better be Liger coming out of fucking retirement to wrestle this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what? They got the in with AEW. Let's make the fucking most of it. Darby Allin versus Doki in the Tokyo Dome. I quit match. Let's do it.
That'd be awesome. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but as of right now, the whole junior division this year has just been a hot mess.
Shit show.
Yeah, it's just one baffling decision after another. It's like I don't get why this wouldn't be the title match and why the double champion Doki, the junior champion and junior tag champion, and he's currently not booked.
Bro, I think it might just be Desperado wants to win the 4-way so he can win the title back from Doki.
New Year's Dash.
No, not at New Year's Dash, like at Road to New Beginning in, Sapporo. It's something like that. Like just on one of those fucking road twos. He wants to win this shit in a very well lit gymnasium in front of 800, enthusiastic fans. not on the big stage. He wants to win that shit in a gymnasium. You know, the one, I don't remember which place it is, but the one with the escalators that go up. He wants to win it in front of the escalators. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a road to sicko.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. This is I don't know if you remember, but like back in the day, Liger, when he like took more of a senior role, he was still active, but he was kind of actively booking the junior division. Desperado, my intel tells me that Desperado's been booking this shit all year. That's why. That's why nothing makes sense.
Why aren't we getting more death matches then? Oh man,
that's like when what that is like he wants the death matches to happen, but it's like when you know, like when Vince Russo was booking the Monday Night Raw, and he was being filtered through the creative mind of Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr. That's what was happening here. Is like, you know, Desperado is booking shit, but it goes first through Togo and then through Kikuchi and then
Yano,
Liger and Tanahashi, they get eyes on it, Nagata, and then it goes to, you know, Gato. So that's why, if it were up to him, we'd be seeing some exploding time bomb death matches with, you know, razor wire and shit. Like, it's just, they haven't allowed it. And I think what he's trying to do is make this shit as boring as fuck. So he can open up the door to make it as exciting as he's like, we gotta liven shit up.
Need some color.
You gotta let me pull out the board with the forks is what we need here.
Red equals green, boys. Oh man. Next question from Ann Kangaroo says, why? I don't know why.
I literally don't know why. It's baffling. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there is like maybe it's like Doki is going to get challenged by the one guy who's not in play right now, which is Francesco Akira is going to come back and make the challenge. And he's the one guy that's out there that they haven't wrestled in a while. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe.
Bring in Hayabusa.
That'd be sick. No, just like let Liger come back. Whatever.
Let's Commission 725T says, with the participants in the number one contender junior 4-way match, do we see a 4-way junior tag title match on the road to Tokyo Tour? And do we still get a junior title match at Wrestle Kingdom with Doki against someone else?
I think it's very possible we'll get one of those preview tags in the lead up, like you said, and I have no clue what the fuck they're doing with this junior title. I think it would be baffling if it's not on Wrestle Kingdom, but who the fuck knows? Maybe they will maybe they're fucking with us and then they're just going to announce later, like they're going to do an angle and it's going to be like, oh, Sho isn't able to compete. And then they insert Doki and this was all just a swerve, bro.
Gotcha. Next question, different 720 says, what are your thoughts on Doki not defending the junior title of the Dome? While idiots are arguing about AEW New Japan stuff, the more bigger topic should be that we won't have a junior heavyweight title match for Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, it's the more littler topic because it's the little guys. So with the little belt, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, we've said it. I just don't know what the game plan is here. Why they're not pushing that division the way that. And I think it's dumb that they totally blew not doing Despy Doki rematch, the first rematch in the Dome. The story was there all in itself. Like, they could have just had Doki come back at the homecoming, healed. Like, you wouldn't have beat me if I didn't break my arm. Let's run it back. Like, it would have. The story wrote itself.
This shit's sorry.
So, out of that, the current matches for Wrestle Kingdom. So we have the double title match. IWGP World Champion Kanosuke Takeshita will face the global champion Yota Tsuji. Winner takes all. The Tanahashi retirement match, Tanahashi versus Okada. Evil versus Aaron Wolf. And I don't know if this has been officially made a never title match. I think people just have been saying that, but as of right now, I think it's still non-title.
They were talking about making it like a bet match, like hair versus hair.
Yeah. Then there's going to be this strong women's champion, Saya Kamatani, versus the IWGP Women's Champion, Shuri. Winner takes all. And then the aforementioned 4-way with Despy, Sho, Fujita, and Ishimori. Winner gets a title shot. Some other questions here. Staleburger Bun says, for fun, what would be the worst possible outcome of the final 2 Wrestle Kingdom 20 matches?
Tanahashi and Okada go on second to last, and Tanahashi loses to Okada. And then Takeshita... No, I'm sorry. Let's scratch that. We'll take it back. Takeshita beats Tsuji in the second to last match to win all the belts. And then Okada beats Tanahashi at the end of the show to send him into his retirement. And then however you want to book it, we end up with either a face-off or an altercation or an angle between Takeshita and Okada, the 2 men from AEW who have both won their top 2 matches of the evening, doing an angle to set up, and a winner takes all New Japan AEW unified triple quadruple crown title match at what's the next big? They're all big, but what's the next regular ass pay-per-view that they're having since they're all the same?
Well, after the Tokyo Dome, it would probably be Revolution.
Yeah, at Revolution. Isn't Revolution before? Isn't that December?
That's January. World's End is December.
Oh, yeah. So Revolution, be there. The IWGP double title versus the unified. We're going to have the quintuplet. The 5 belts on the line.
Yeah. That honestly,
that's the worst thing that they could possibly do.
And then you have Don Callis come out and Gato and say the Bullet Club and Don Callis family have united.
I wouldn't care about that. That's whatever. I'm fine with that.
Next question.
There's a lot of talent in the Don Callis family. I'd be totally fine with them sending some. Remember how I said they don't do any cool shit?
Yeah.
Send some of those dudes over to
send Josh Alexander over real quick.
Bro, they could send Trent. I don't give a fuck. They got some cool dudes over there,
Yeah.
That's a stacked. That is the most stupidly stacked group ever for no fucking reason. It's a bunch of dudes who could be over, but they never will be because they're just in this mega group for no reason. It makes no sense. But yeah, send some of those dudes over here. I don't care.
Doc says, who will be the only Gaijin on the TV Asahi card?
Oscar.
Where my brother's at. That's right, Knockout Brothers. Well, if the tag title match gets on the TV portion. But for sure.
Clap.
That's right, big up. But yeah, they'll definitely be on the Dome card for sure. Series of questions here from Def Triangle 720. It says, since Wrestle Kingdom is going to be on TV in Japan, do you think the card is going to be smaller in terms of time?
We've already addressed that.
Yeah. And it says, do you think the TV title is going to be defended at Wrestle Kingdom? The title is made for 15 minutes and under, so it can definitely be a opener to the show.
I have no clue, but it feels like if it is, it might be like one of the previous top guys in the company taking on ELP, someone like a Jay White, or I'm sorry, not Jay White, someone like a ZSJ, a Goto, or maybe a Finley.
Yeah. And also, we got World Tag League I'm sure his challenger will probably come out of that. Also, he says, do you think we're about to see title matches at New Year's Dash if certain titles aren't going to be defended at the Dome? What better way to kick off the next day with big title matches for Dash while having some surprises?
Yeah, that's possible. If they do, in fact, go with a shorter time frame for the Dome, then they might do remaining title matches the next night, which I'm not necessarily opposed to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would give Dash more talking points because, some years they just don't really do much. They just do a bunch of multi-mans that kind of build for new beginning. There's not a lot of hot angles, so
New Year's Dash has sucked the last few years.
Yeah, so I mean that would put some life in it if they did that. It also says, after Wrestle Kingdom 20 is over, who do you think should be Tsuji's first challenger? It's pretty clear that Takeshita is losing and will probably have his match with Okada in AEW, so he'd be gone for a bit. But Tsuji needs a hot feud for his title run.
I'm not 1,000% convinced Takeshita's not winning. There is a part of me where I'm like, they keep saying he's the forever champion, and there's all this stuff about, TV Asahi being high on him. What if he does fucking win? And what if he does carry the title for an extended period? Oh, I don't know about that. But I feel like Finley might be his first challenger. And I think that's just because I've already sort of said, I think that the fallout at New Year's Dash is going to be between unaffiliated Bullet Club and will establish David Finley as the first challenger for the title.
Yeah, I could also see Evil being the first challenger, considering Evil beat him in the G1, and depending on how things go with Aaron Wolf, like Evil could probably sneak his way into a title match somehow.
Could. Yeah.
And then his last question here, he says, after Tanahashi's retirement, at Wrestle Kingdom, putting a nail to the end of the final pillars of New Japan history, who do you generally believe will be the next top guys to push the company back on track?
Well, right now they're giving the push to Tsuji, it seems like. So hopefully that's what they try out. I talked about this the other week, how like there was a period of time during the what we call the quote unquote dark ages, and New Japan gave pushes to there essentially were 4 pillars at that time. And originally it was going to be like Nakamura, Shibata, Tanahashi, and like Goto. Or I'm sorry, not Goto, Makabe. And then obviously Shibata left and Goto came back and sort of filled that role. And those were kind of like the 4 dudes carrying the company into the new era. And they gave the only person that they never really fully committed to was Goto. But they gave Nakamura lengthy pushes and it just didn't work out. They gave a lengthy push to Makabe. It didn't work out. Tanahashi is the only one that really stuck long term that kind of, became the guy. I'm expecting something similar to happen here. I'm expecting that for Tsuji to get the push and them try him out. And when they're ready, I wouldn't be surprised for them to try out some of these other guys, whether it is Oleg Boltin or Oiwa or Uemura. I think we're pretty clear it's not going to be Shota Umino.
Yeah.
But I think that they are going to give these guys tournament and title wins and pushes to see where they're at and then see who is like the last man standing. And it's not going to be and let me put it to you this way. With Tanahashi, he won the title the first time in 2006. But he really wasn't fully made until he won the title from Muto in 2009. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of time between those 2 title wins where the title was exchanged between many different people in the interim. And yeah, Tsuji might win the title here, but that doesn't mean he's like, this is the crowning. He is the ace. I think it's the start of, all right, we're going to start putting the title on some of these guys and seeing how it works. We're going to kick the tires.
Yeah. Let's see here. Next question from Destino A2. Does the House of Torture booking of things like adding Fale and Owens or having Evil make the G1 finals make more sense with the War Dogs unaffiliated alliance and Aaron Wolf debuting against Evil?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't really see how that's all linked together.
I think you could probably say like, yeah, they gave the big push, almost every year, the guy that's in the finals of the G1 does something major on Wrestle Kingdom, the runner up, not always. Like there was that one year Sonata didn't.
For good reason.
but most of the time they do. And yeah, so I mean, maybe there is that, like, yeah, they were building up Evil to be the guy against Aaron Wolf. But the rest of it, I don't know that I can say yes to.
Yeah. Next question here from Lucky Harms 93. Assuming if it is 10 matches plus the pre-show match, what 5 matches do you see filling out the Wrestle Kingdom card?
All right, so I mean, we can just go through the title matches. That's pretty much the easiest way.
Yeah, tag title match, Knockout Brothers versus World Tag League winners.
I'm expecting that to be like, I'm expecting it to be a 3-way personally.
Yeah, I think Bishamon will probably get in there and then one of their team.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Uemura and Umino and Bishamon and the Knockout Brothers. Something like that. I think that's something that gets all those guys on there.
Yeah. Then TV title match, we could have ELP open challenge or set up a challenge during World Tag League.
I think ELP will probably wind up facing probably Zach or Finley.
Yeah. Then there's junior tag titles, which will probably not.
I don't think they'll be on the show.
Never 6-man titles. I guess
I don't think they'll be on the show.
Could do a gauntlet, maybe.
Maybe. I think you still have to wonder if Doki defends, and I feel like who's left for him is like Hiromu and or Francesco Akira if he's healthy.
Yeah. So that'd be 3: a tag title, TV, junior title.
Is there anything else? Well, I mean, I'm sure they're going to do the Rambo. That's on the pre-show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes.
Maybe they do end up defending those other titles. I don't know, but it feels like there's a lot of big names that are sort of in limbo and sort of left off the card right now that you're kind of wondering what they're doing, and that's the tough part here.
Yeah, unless they just use World Tag League to build like some random singles match, like if you like Zach just versus somebody else in a grudge match. I don't know. Like what's Shingo doing?
What are like all the Reiwa guys doing, and what are the top guys from the previous generation doing? Like, we don't know.
Yeah. And the only thing, kind of good thing maybe about those guys not being booked, last year they turned the Rambo into being a number one contender. You would get more credible challengers in the Rambo if none of these guys get booked. So I think that would make that match a little bit more exciting, but still I feel like some of those guys should be on the main card. And then last week there was a first Wrestle Kingdom press conference, which Tanahashi was on, and announced that they sold 31,548 tickets for Tokyo Dome, and that comes after 20,000 tickets were sold on the first day of sales on October 1st. So this is the first time that New Japan sold more than 30 tickets to Wrestle Kingdom event since before the pandemic. Night 14, Night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom 14 drew 40,000 fans to Tokyo Dome. Night 2 drew 30,000. Wrestle Kingdom 19 in January drew 24,107, which was down from 27,000 in 2024 and 26,000 in 2023. And there was more tickets released earlier today, and it was already sold out. So going to be a packed house for Tokyo Dome.
I mean, I don't know exactly for sure. Because you can't always trust some of those earlier, you can't always trust the numbers, right? That some of the Tokyo Domes have been purported to say that they were, but like the alleged largest show that Tanahashi ever headlined was Wrestle Kingdom 6, where they claimed that they had 43,000 in attendance. There are claims that it was much closer to like 23K. But like, as far as like kayfabe numbers, that is purportedly the biggest show that he has ever, drew. So it'll be interesting. I mean, this is a legit number. And I think that, right now they're at like 32. I think that they have a chance to actually do over 40,000 plus. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to definitely get at least hit 40. Particularly, I break that.
When it's all said and done, this may very well be the biggest, not only like the biggest night of Tanahashi's career, but it might be the biggest crowd that he, not that he's ever worked in front of, but it could be, but it also the biggest he's ever headlined in front of.
Yeah. And we also got the teams for World Tag League 2025. So that tournament kicks off not this coming week, but the following weekend. And we got our team. So in the A block, we got Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, Bolton Oleg, and Toru Yano. Then Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd, Evil and Don Fale, Taichi, and Satoshi Kojima, who's replacing an injured Tomohiro Ishii.
Thanks, Tony.
El Desperado and Tsuji Ishikawa, Shingo Takagi and Drilla Maloney, and Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens. Then over in the B block, we got the champions, the Knockout Brothers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Rei Oiwa, Monster Sauce, Lance Archer and Alex Zane, Tanahashi and ELP, Umino and Uemura, David Finlay and Hiromu Takahashi, Great Okan and Callum Newman, Ren Narita and and Sonata.
I think for the most part, there are a few like nitpicky things where I could point out that I'm not loving the idea of certain teams, but by and large, this is a really, really, really like good lineup for World Tag League.
Yeah, a lot of very interesting team ups here. Obviously, we got a lot of the unaffiliated War Dog stuff continuing to play out. The Tsuji Gabe Kid team really intrigues me just because Tsuji can't really lose going into the Tokyo Dome main event. And obviously, I think you'd want to kind of keep Gabe somewhat strong. But, I mean, I think
he's on his way out, bro. I think he's going to do jobs. I'm not even saying that Tsuji won't also do jobs. I think you could almost see this as if he is going to win the world title, you might want to potentially have him lose a match or two to a potential future challenger and set it up that way. They also are probably going to do fairly well, so they'll probably win most of their matches. Because again, you don't want Tsuji losing a lot, but I think Kid's going to be the majority of the pin eater in that team. Yeah.
But just looking at the other teams in their block, like I can see them being a top team in here and winning a lot of matches. But yeah, then maybe Gabe being the one that kind of costs them going to the finals.
You know, Drilla also could be a guy that might potentially challenge for that TV title. I think that would make a lot of sense. And I think the match of him and Shingo, or the team up of them, is really cool. But yeah, I mean, in the A block, just gun to my head, I think there's a lot of teams that could be quote unquote finalists. But the team that, like, if I had to pick anybody to come out of here and be like, yeah, they would make sense to potentially win or even be in line to, you know, face the Knockout Brothers in the Tokyo Dome, it's really just Bishamon in this block.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest team. Obviously, 3-time tournament winners. Yeah, I think that makes them, you know, maybe if Ishii was there, maybe you could say maybe as former champions, Taichi and Ishii.
Right.
Could probably get there, but yeah, I think Bishamon's going to probably win this block.
I don't have a lot of faith in most of these, you know, unaffiliated Bullet Club teams. And then a lot of the other guys that are in the block are kind of busy doing things. There are good teams here. I think that this is going to be a good block, but the only one that makes sense to me to be like, yeah, they could win it is Bishamon, really.
Yeah. Then over in the B block, I mean, Zack and Oiwa look like a pretty strong team.
They were like the standout team last year in the tournament, and I'm sure that they could even be someone that you might want to potentially put in the tag team picture as well, potentially. So there's that.
Yeah, especially if Zack's not going to get a singles match and you want him in a big title match. And, you know, I mean, Zack and Goto has kind of been a story this year. So do you do Bishamon versus Zack and Oiwa in the finals?
I think there are more viable teams that make sense here to potentially do something. Like Callum Newman seems to be getting a little push. United Empire is in need of something. Him and Great O'Khan. Great O'Khan has a long history of success in the tag team division. That's something you could do. You know, David Finlay and Hiromu, of all of the unaffiliated BC teams, that's the one team where it's like, those are two big stars. Hiromu won this tournament with the heavyweight last year. That's another team you could really do something with if you really wanted to, at least just temporarily. We already know about Umino and Uemura, you know, and then there's Zack and Oiwa. Taking nothing away from Monster Sauce, I think they're always viable, but they're, you know, since they're both not like regulars with the company, I don't see them like winning the tournament or anything. But even Narita and Sonata, those are also two guys that they like to do something. It is kind of crazy. The B block is so, I don't want to say like, oh, it's for sure going to be better from a talent standpoint, because I think there's good talent in both blocks. But in terms of like viable teams that you could see doing something here, there's a lot more choices in the B block.
Yeah. Also, I think the ELP Tanahashi team's interesting just because obviously ELP being a champion, and Tanahashi's on this retirement tour. I know he's been losing, but I think you might want to protect him a little bit going into the Okada match. So I think that'll be an interesting team to see who's going to be taking falls there. Yeah, yeah, this B block, between Umino and Uemura, Finley, Hiromu, Narita Sonata, Zack Oiwa, like you can go with a lot of teams here winning this B block.
Well, Jeremy, I'm getting tired, so let's go through these questions. Get the fuck out of here.
MJ says, Tag League is here. There are actually quite a few interesting teams. However, after a disappointing Junior Tag League, what are your hopes that this tournament over-delivers?
This is the last push to the Tokyo Dome, and I think that they not only have an opportunity to establish tag team talents within the tag team division and future challengers for, the Knockout Brothers, but I think they have the potential to set up secondary feuds that lead into the Tokyo Dome for the other titleists and other programs that might last it going into 2026. So they've got and then not only that, but they have a pretty incredible collection of talent where they really could have a fantastic tournament. And I can't remember the last time I've ever said that about like World Tag League. And I'm sure it's not going to be the blow. Like it's not going to be G1 level or anything.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to the very low standards of what World Tag League, what the bar is, they're probably going to clear it pretty easily here. So that's good. I think it's going to be a good tournament, honestly.
Yeah. And plus, I think they're comparing it to Junior Tag League. I think there are way better teams in this tournament than there was in Junior Tag League. So I think just the floor is already going to be lifted with the quality of teams that are in this tournament. Let's Commission 7252 says, is Chase Owens and Yujiro Takahashi the killer team you're looking forward to in World Tag League?
No.
Next question. Make way for slide. Says El Desperado and Hiromu are pulling double duty in the New Japan Tag Leagues. Hiromu's also in the Noah Junior Grand Prix. Have these two both outgrown the New Japan Junior Division? What direction do you see them taking in 2026?
You're going to have to ask Desperado because he's booking the division these days. I made that up, guys. Don't fucking
don't
what is it called?
Aggregate.
Don't aggregate me.
Don't start a Reddit thread in the squared circle.
Or start spreading it around, but don't credit it to me. Because that shit would be funny. But then when it does blow up, then I do. And if it does turn out to be true, then I do want the credit.
Yeah, but I mean, we've said this over and over. I think Hiromu and Despi are way beyond being in the junior division. In age, we're looking for stars. These are guys with 2 stars that could easily, I think, transition to the heavyweight division. But I guess they're only good for heavyweight tags. I don't know. Next question here from Ginger Infringer says, where do you see Zack, Finley, and Goto being booked at Wrestle Kingdom, seeing as they are 3 of the biggest stars in the company? Do you think they'll be booked in singles matches, or will Gale just throw them all in the rainbow to try and make it a more prestigious, especially with the new incentive of the winner getting a title shot?
They might actually do a unaffiliated Bullet Club match of some sorts. Some people have speculated that they'll have the falling out before the Tokyo Dome, and then we'll get the big match between the two of them. But I could even see them still teaming up this has been my theory the whole time. They're going to team up at Tokyo Dome, win their match, be totally fine, and put to bed like, I guess that they're as strong as they ever have been. And then the next night at New Year's Dash is when the angle comes for the breakup and blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm holding on to. So I could see Finley involved in that. And as far as Zack and Goto, I think Zack could be in the TV title match. Maybe they do, ELP versus Drilla. I think Drilla kind of deserves that shot. Maybe Zack and Goto will both be in the tag title. Tough, but yeah, but it's tough because you've still got Uemura and Umino, and I'm like, what are they doing? There's a lot of guys where you're like, what are they doing? Same thing with like not Desperado, but like Hiromu. What the fuck is Hiromu doing? So yeah.
Next question, Def Triangle 720. Do you think New Japan decided to have no junior title match to lower the amount of matches on the Wrestle Kingdom card?
I mean, I don't think so, because they're still having a junior title
contender match. Yeah.
Yeah. Number one contender. It makes no sense. I don't know.
Yeah. He also asked, let's say the booking team changes after the Dome. What do you hope turns New Japan back into a hot company? I feel like we've kind of answered this one.
We've answered this so many times.
Yeah. Stay with Gas says, how much y'all F with NJPW right now on a scale of 1 to 10? My answer is about a light 7. Still very good wrestling, but the booking, sad face.
It depends on what day you catch me. Today, I'm like a 6.
Yeah, I don't know, 6, 7. I wasn't even trying to do that on purpose.
6, 7.
6, 7. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
You ever see those like I don't know, you probably don't, but you know how I am. Like I get aggregated for like the really fucking weird side of like, I don't have TikTok, but like
Insta
the weird
reels.
Well, I got rid of Instagram, so I pretty much am just relying on Twitter now. But like I found, you know, I'm starting to get aggregated for like the really strange, you know, conspiracy theory side of them, and sometimes it'll bleed into the really weird, like the prophetic sort of Christianity conspiracy theory. So like I found this dude and he was talking about how 6'7" is actually demonic and how it's a spell over the children. And that's why they all seem to be, who's the rapper that it's you know, allegedly based off of? I don't know, but he was saying it goes back to like the voodoo, you know, he's blaming it on the island people, you know what I'm saying? So there's even like a racist element to it. And he's like, you know, this guy does, you know, sacrifices and 6'7" in a different language. When you look at the numerology and you line them up and the dates, it's a curse. It's actually a spell. And that's why the kids can't seem to, and you shouldn't be saying that because you're inviting the spirits into your life. And he's like, that's why they're so obsessed with it. It's evil, like Pokemon and Harry Potter. I love it, bro.
Oh, man.
I love that shit.
He also asked, who would y'all make champions in each division? I'd put the IWGP on Evil, obviously.
Honestly, man, it's a fun experiment, but the only thing that really matters to me right now is the big belt. Who the fuck are we putting the big belt on? Let them carry this company to
be the Gene Blast.
Let's put the title on Tsuji. Let's have him Gene blast his genes and everybody.
Just
spread that seed.
Oh, that's getting clipped.
For growth. For growth.
Rainbow Slam Pig says, do you think this coming year is when they finally pull the plug on the rest of these zombie factions, which are just trudging along in order to do a widespread shakeup, or will the status quo remain?
They've said that they were going to shake shit up in the past, and they've done it so poorly. So yes, like please, it's not enough to just dismantle groups, but you got to replace them with something that's hot. You know what I mean? Like that's where they failed so far.
Yeah, it seems like something's brewing with, you know, Newman and United Empire. He's talking about, you know, taking the bricks and, you know, bashing people's heads in, and it seems like something's coming there,
bro. People want to talk about what titles we want to put on people, but I can talk about the state of the factions easily. United Empire has been in shambles since Will Ospreay left. The Bullet Club has never really been the Bullet Club since, like, I mean, you can still say the days of Jay White, but like since Jay White before the pandemic, as soon as the litmus test is the moment they moved Evil into the group, it fucked everything.
Game
up.
Over. Yeah.
That is like, and that was the beginning of House of Torture. And Bullet Club War Dogs, as cool as they've been at times, and you know, House of Torture, whatever you want to say that's good about them, they're not the Bullet Club. Bullet Club has never, really, the pandemic fucked it up, but like, and then also, you know, Kenny and the Elite leaving is also a big part of that too. But like, they've never been the Bullet Club as they were, but since before AEW started and Kenny left. You know, Just Five Guys just got officially disbanded, and compare that to Suzuki-gun. No, we're on the level of Suzuki-gun at any point in time.
Yeah.
And Tanahashi's leaving, and we don't even have a leader of Hantai. We got Goto. I love Goto, but the dude who couldn't win the title almost more times than anybody else in the history of the company, and all these young dudes, unaffiliated, isn't even really LIJ. They're LIJ in everything but name, but there's no Naito, and so they're fake LIJ.
Timu LIJ.
Bro, everything is fucked up when it comes to the groups right now. Have I left anybody out that
Chaos is done.
Chaos is done. TMDK is still around and stuff, but like Mad Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes couldn't even get a fucking invite to the World Tag League.
Oh man.
So you know what I'm saying? Like there's some work to be done here.
Yeah. Not a strong faction year. Next question from Les Questions.
Oh, and let me add this. Chaos at the top of their heat, when they were the hottest shit going, it was because Rise turned on Great Bash Heel and absorbed the majority of Great Bash Heel and formed Chaos, and it was like this hot angle to create something fucking new. Suzuki-gun was born out of Taka and Taichi turning on Kojima and disbanding Kojima-gun to start, Suzuki-gun. That's the kind of shit that you want to see happen. Even like, United Empire was formed out of a really cool angle of like
Ospreay turning on Okada. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when shit gets hot. Like you need cool angles and stories to invest in. And like they have failed to do that all years. They just kind of consolidated some groups, and at one point TJP was the leader of United Empire. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. Last question says, Young Boy Josh said last week that Unaffiliated and War Dogs will implode at New Year's Dash. As both factions are my favorite right now since pairing up, can you see Tsuji being the one turning heel, separating himself away from Shingo and Hiromu to create his own group with the Knockout Brothers and Daiki Nagai?
I don't think so. I think that maybe if they really wanted to experiment with things, but because he is a baby face right now, and they might be, unless they have someone else waiting in the wings that they want to push as the ace. And I don't think Aaron Wolf will be that guy. It wouldn't make sense for them to turn him heel unless he's not winning the title.
Yeah. I feel if he's winning the title, he needs to be the face of the company.
If he doesn't win the title, then fuck yeah.
Vert McPolygon, how would you split the current unaffiliated War Dog group into 2 or 3 new factions? Let's imagine it happens at New Year's Dash.
I wouldn't do that. I would just have them be completely separated, period.
Yeah,
that's it. I know we want to do fun, cool stuff, but you have already got 2 groups there. So to me, the only thing that would make sense out of that would be kick a bunch of the dudes out and some of the select members start their own shit. And then there's just one group, but it's more likely that we'll just see the split of the 2 groups that always existed, because that's chalk. And also those 2 groups have nothing in common. And this is just, this is Team Hell No.
Yeah, well, if all the foreigners are leaving, I mean, I guess you can just split it up where the foreigners just leave, and then Taiji Shimori and whoever else is Japanese in Bullet Club goes to unaffiliated.
David Finley's not leaving. Drilla and David Finley will stick around.
We'll see. And then last question here from that dude named Menace. Thoughts on Inamura winning the GHC title?
Go with God.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't watch that shit. Who the fuck? What the fuck is an Inamura?
Yeah, I mean, good for him. I mean, yeah, he beat Kenta for a title.
Everybody's beat Kenta.
But yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it. But all right, well,
Yoshiki Inamura. Like, I'm like, oh yeah. So like, this was the dude that we were like high on because he was like all buff and everything. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Yeah.
But then, okay, and then he's the dude that went and like worked like NXT a lot. Looks like, okay. I mean, I know that he's been doing the cowboy gimmick, so I'm kind of not letting on that I know as much as I know. I know he's doing cowboy gimmick, which is like fine, whatever. But like, I liked him when he had the other gear, like with the straps.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been following him much. But shout out to him. Yeah, winning GHC title. Well, that's going to wrap things up. Next week, we'll be doing a more preview of World Tag League in the first few nights and covering all the latest news. So remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button and the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at Social Suplex, at Jeremy L. Donovan, at YB_Josh and Liger. On Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/Social Suplex. On Reddit, on the Pro Black Guy. Just Keep It Strong Style. On YouTube, we are at Social Suplex. Join our Social Suplex Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. And check out all the other shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, First Lada, and James Boyd. All things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps AEW Adventure with the Implications Matthew Mayer. Wrestling Art with Chris Slings. Talk with Ali and Leah, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. And we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
It's your bum.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.